Good day, Reed here. Thanks for joining me as I walk about Orchestra Farm. It's a gorgeous July. We're finally getting the heat. It's not bonkers heat, which is fantastic. And, we're in the berry season, which is fantastic. It was just a big holiday weekend down in the States, celebrating the 4th of July. And up here in Canada, we celebrated the 1st of July. So, all fascinating things. And, in my last video, I was talking about interdependence and relationships. Over the weekend, I celebrated my youngest son's birthday. His theme was Hawk Weed Whacker, which is hilarious and actually so fun. We had a few people come over for that, and it was great. And then my wife had an event to go to after that. I had work to go to after that. I forget what happened the day before. Yeah, my wife worked in the morning, and then she had an event to go to, and then we had a dinner with some friends. Oh, she's doing a nice job here. She came with some friends and opened up this corridor, and she's like, "What's that plant there with the silvery leaves?" I was like, "It's an autumn olive." She's like, "Isn't it?" I'm like, No. Mind you, this is overly densely spaced, which has its drawbacks. And, I would do differently in the future. But having an autumn olive in the mix like this, it just changes the frequency of things. And I mean that from like an insect reality. Like the insects, they can kind of get confused by other plant smells and things. This pecan that's growing here is also producing some different scents and things for the insects to get confused by. Mind you, it's been my thinking that raspberries don't really have too many predators other than deer. So, we're lucky in that regard. And that brings up this notion of like, I was chatting with my daughter, shielding, and, not being so empathic about a given person or situation that, it takes you off your center, or, makes you do things you don't want to be doing, kind of a thing. And there's a difference between having a shield and using it all the time. And this notion that a lot of us, the word I heard over the weekend was become jaded about different situations or people or dynamics. And I find a lot of the time, it becomes using the shield all the time instead of recognizing, the uniqueness of a situation and having the shield readily available. And I am speaking metaphorically here. Like for some people who live in a city environment, there's a notion of like, you have to have kind of like your city armor on, you have to have your street sense about you. You can't just, walk down the road and not consider your surroundings. And I recognize that's true basically across life. And as my daughter's a teenager, so she's starting to like realize these things and doesn't want to become jaded to given dynamics or situations, while at the same time learning how to, very quickly bring up her shield to not be off-centered by a given situation. Intermix that with the idea of we are social creatures, and it is good to be in relation with others. That piece around, how do you train for this so that you can be really articulate with your shield moments? I kind of think of it when I was a kid. My mom and I were having some heated discussion, and the phone rang, and it was her sister. And when she answered it, she was so pleasant and amenable. And I was kind of shocked, like, what? We were just having this, heated discussion and moment, and she's just able to, like, at the snap of her finger, become very pleasant and not show any signs that had been occurring. And when I see little kids playing, sometimes they will have an argument erupt, and it's very heated, and then again, like that, they switch, and it's just, back to having a good time. I'm still training myself in this regard to varying degrees, but I see those examples, and I recognize, like, we all have that ability. And I relate that with this concept of shielding from the notion of, being able to bring it up really quick, deflect whatever the thing is coming in, and then put it down just as quickly to get back to living in a, more relaxed state. And that ability to, like, switch between states is amazing. And I can do it pretty well with my kids now, which feels great. And I do it okay with some other, people / dynamics in my life. And I'm constantly trying to, like, get better at that. And so, I'm curious for you. What are the situations in your life where you feel like you can practice that? And what are the situations in your life that cause you to just kind of get caught up in it and your shield stays up for longer than is necessary? And if this video is like bringing up for you the notion of, oh geez, you haven't taken your shield down for weeks, months, maybe years, the idea of go find a place that feels safe and let it down and take care of yourself a bit. Because the problem with shields, similar to like a lobster growing, is that when they grow too big for their shell, they have to leave it or they get crushed by it. And our shields can be like that. They can actually crush us. And so it's good to recognize when we actually need to, like, let the energy flow of people, situations, dynamics, and it's also totally fine to recognize, like, sometimes retreat is the best answer, and it's not really the shield that's the important thing. The shield just gets us into the space where we can retreat. So if this is resonating for you, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. It really means a lot. And have too much fun.